word. Okay, so we got ThaGrinchy versus SauCeD, who is a 1550 undead. So could be in his favor. I'm not sure how many games they have logged, so their MMRs might still fluctuate a lot. And of course, anyone near 1500 MMR has probably the most fluctuation because of new accounts also starting at 1500. Anyways, jumping into it. At the bottom left, we have our purple night elf, ThaGrinchy, who is going standard build, going to creep the small camp. Not sure if demon or keeper yet. SauCeD, on the other hand, our yellow undead at the top right, going for a ghoul build. So possibly fast expansion, possibly some sort of ghoul harass, or dual crypt all in. Okay, we do see the shop and a scout. But yeah, it can really go anywhere. It is going to be Death Knight. And we see the Demon Hunter. I know Grinchy prefers Keeper, but I think he's been advised quite often to try more Demon Hunter against Undead especially, because mana burn can be extremely powerful. Even though Keeper is arguably better against the common ghoul strats lately, once you get to the late game, if you can survive there with Demon, he can be superior in some of those situations. So it really just kind of depends if you prefer the tier 3 tech Demon or the tier 2 Dryad expansion into a later tech. Not the greatest creeping by Grinchy so far.
A player's forces are under attack.
Miss rally here, not next to a shop, but getting his rod now, and he will head out to... He looks unsure. Oh, he's getting a rod or dust as well. So maybe planning to be aggressive. Grinchy does finish the camp up. Not too much trouble, even though it was not the cleanest. His archer did take some damage. And the undead is just creeping. So no expansion, no harass. We do have double ziggurat though, so just a ghoul creeping. Definitely not uncommon. And Grinchy going for a harass. Now, I'm very unsure of how good this is these days because of how often you face ghouls and how risky it is to just lose your TP against Unholy Aura ghouls around. I feel like it might be better to just generally just creep, get level 3, they also get level 3, and then you start burning them after that. Because yeah, this situation's really awkward, because he might get surrounded here and lose his TP. And I don't believe he has a wisp near. Oh, he has one wisp nearby. A little hard to tell because he is purple. So it's kind of hard to see on the map. We do see some aggression. You need to be very careful with these archers. Does have a wisp coming out. Could be huge. Misses the Detto. Has another wisp though. There is dust, but he opted not to use it there. Yeah, oftentimes with archers against ghouls like this, you want to keep them on the outside of your base, because you do not want to get them trapped inside your base. So now he's in a better position with the archers outside. They can run around. Obviously Unholy Aura can start to catch them. Do need to be careful here. We'll lose one archer, possibly the other. Well, definitely the other with some coils. So good play by SauCeD so far. A little mispositioning by Grinchy, but nothing unrecoverable. This, however, is going to hurt a little more, and we will probably see the DH get out at the cost of 2 ghouls, but it is going to cost a lot of moonwells. Oh, should just run up. Ooh, I think he could have just ran up and like just got away. But he wanted to be safe. So TP'd out, and Moonwells are drained. However, it is nighttime. He does have 3 Moonwells. Hunter's Hall a bit late, but not too bad. We'll be looking to likely pick up a Panda or Naga. We do see the Panda, so he did tell me beforehand he was expecting Gargs. This does not look like Gargs, but there is a lot of ghouls, and Panda is of course still good against ghouls, so definitely not a bad choice. I mean, Panda's just not bad against fiends either, to be honest. Just takes quite some time to level up. Yeah, we see our undead player also creeping. We'll need 1 more camp for 3, and Grinchy as well might need 2 more because he's splitting XP now.
The player's forces are under attack.
Little unsure of where he wanted to creep. Decides to go for the side orange. Maybe mercenary camp plus buying a troll could have been good. Honestly, I'm not sure on the best creep routes on this map. This map's just kind of weirdly designed for creep strength, to be honest. I feel like it highly favors ranged units and tanking with summons. Yeah, we do see level 2 Panda and level 3 DH. No TP though, so needs to get back really quickly. Might lose this Moonwell. Probably will lose the Moonwell unless he gets mass repair. It's a little too late now. Might get the Archer to heal. Would have really liked to get the DH to heal, but actually good to bait the coil there. It's definitely good to just eat a coil with your DH as opposed to something else. But his Archer's mispositioned. DH should be coming back in. Panda gets surrounded. He does have Wanda Mana Stealing though. DH needs to start attack. Oh, he's getting a staff. Good. That's good. And he got a ghoul as well. Will lose probably 1 Archer. Yeah, Archer gets surrounded. Very good. By our undead player. Grinchy does have Dryad starting to pump out though. One of them surrounded by his own buildings though. Not ideal. And also researching Abolish can definitely help for skeletons. Sometimes it's better to just get more units against undead rather than Abolish, but it can definitely be useful. Moonstone. Grinchy is kind of suffering with Moonwells though, and he gets 1 cancelled, so rough spot for him, but good breath coming out. Potion should see a Mana Steal hopefully on something. Would really like to get 1 more breath here. But otherwise the Dryads will clean this up, and he even got in range of his other Dryad. Very nice. That was cool. Oh, nice deny though by SauCeD. But a little over eager. Definitely didn't want to go into the elf base right there. And he's going dual slaughter. Will it be mass A-bomb or mass destroyers? Mass destroyers. Okay. Well, definitely good versus bears. Good versus panda, I guess. But there is Orb of Venom. There is a couple Dryads. And if Grinchy spots this, maybe he can react appropriately before he has too many bears. Yeah, he's doing some solo creeping now, trying to send his DH to harass. Does not have a Staff of Telly or boots though, so actually very risky, especially against ghouls. Do not want to get in range of this tower, but he is seeing the tech. Oh, and it's actually going to be just A-bombs. Okay, that's definitely more common. A-bombs definitely are pretty decent against elf. It can be hard to take them down quickly. Need to be very careful here. Still no boots, still no staff. Yeah, our panda will need a rejuve soon. Should have a bear coming. Oh, and he got another bear stuck. DH.
A player's force
Got some nice burns off, but he's really playing with fire here. If he got Nova there, he might have actually got surrounded. And there was a Nova before the burn. Oh, panda! Nothing wrong here. DH! I can't look, dude. Oh my god. GrincHy, you're playing with fire, bro. But he did get level 3. He did get a lot of burns off. Forced one of the statues to morph. The undead heroes are below 150 mana on both. And no mana. Oh, mana potion on the Lich actually, not the DK. Interesting Lich inventory. I feel like maybe these two items could go on the DK. But sometimes the health can be good on Lich. Yeah, he's going for the middle camp. Pretty good choice for him. Since he doesn't have fiends, I guess he didn't really need a pull. But this should be a good creep check for GrincHy. However, his Dryad is weak. He didn't get the rejuve off. But he does have 3/3 and a staff. He does get his bear out. This Dryad's going to die, and he needs to find the time to focus these wards. And his bear got trapped. Oh no. Oh, good staff. Didn't deal with the wards, so undead will just be able to heal up out of this. But oh no. No, panda. Yo, he got out. But he might lose this bear. There is no Nova though. If he can, oh no, he might lose this bear too. No, GrincHy, you're collapsing, bro. He almost escaped with everything, but SauCeD chased him down, got the bear, 2 bear kills, which is actually quite huge. And we do see Mass Dryad starting to be pumped out with a couple upgrades. I do think it's not terrible for GrincHy still, because he is 3/3, and the undead is not. But definitely not ideal.
A player's forces are under attack.
Yeah, we see GrincHy going to creep here, and he might actually get creep jacked. Not sure where SauCeD is going to head, or if he's just kind of buying items. Well, now he's getting distracted, so no creep jack. And no rejuve coming in, because he's pumping Dryads and not bears. So this is actually really awkward for GrincHy. He will have to run and staff the DH right away. Ring of Regen could be pretty huge here though. You actually preferably eat a Nova here and then staff out. Good staff on the DH, keeping the panda staff just in case the DH needs it. Yeah, he will staff this too. And now he needs to get some rejuves off. Does have Wellspring already, so that's huge. Yeah, these bears need a rejuve up. And we see MG's on the way. SauCeD, on the other hand, sitting at 51 food. Definitely not ideal. And he's throwing up an Expo and making an A-bomb to 55. I think this is actually pretty good situation for GrincHy. While the Expo might go up, this is buying so much time for GrincHy to make another Moonwell and then pump like 2 more MGs or something, or like an MG and 2 bears or something. He does need to get his other Moonwell up like now though, which he's actually going for an Expo. Definitely viable, but it will be hard to jump to 70 food on that because of how long the tree will take. So it could be quite a slow game for the next 5 or so minutes actually, if both sides just kind of let their Expos get up. We'll see what happens though. GrincHy does have a TP, So our Night Elf could go for some sort of expansion pickoff and then TP out. He could also try to go for the other red, and that would be huge.
A player's force.
Our Undead, on the other hand, taking a smaller camp. It's definitely more comfortable because A-bombs and ghouls aren't great against these red camps. I don't like this as much for Grinchy though. I think going to the other red or scouting expansions would probably be better. I don't believe you want to fight here as Grinchy. 2 bears already pretty low. DH as well. Actually staffed the DH out, so now he can only run and bears are going to get picked off. That's going to hurt. I think TPing out was probably better. He might even get his MG surrounded here. Oof. Definitely less costly to just TP than staffing the DH. Yeah, maybe his DH will staff this in time. No. And now the MG, he should have DH staff ready, but will he be quick enough? Okay, he did get his staff off on the Panda, but yeah, this is not looking good anymore. Undead is already jumped up to 66. Gold mine starting to get filled up, and Grinchy's Expo going to get scouted out and killed quickly. I think I actually would have liked Grinchy to, like I said, put up a 70 food Moonwell and jump to like 70 food, and then probably just try to check the other red camp.
A town is under siege.
Rather than going up here.
A player's forces are under attack.
I don't know, maybe going up here is what I would have done as well though. But yeah, now it's a little sketchier. Grinchy hasn't really leveled up in forever. Undead has now reached 4.3 or 4.5 and 3.5 actually, so pretty good for the Undead. Adding in a couple Gargs, interestingly enough. I think probably Fiends would be better. He's deciding
A player's
what to
forces
use.
are under attack.
I really feel like he should pick that up unless there's only one charge. Oof, this is going to hurt. He does have a TP still because he saved it from earlier, but actually there's not much mana. Maybe he can be fine here. He can actually turn on this, maybe. Oh, there's another creep camp here. Yeah, this Undead army is a little bit out of position. The problem is the DH is getting baited. I think he's on attack move right now, and he's attacking an illusion, so he's not coming back into the fight. And that's actually going to be extremely costly because Grinchy's relying on the DH to get back here to TP his army out. Now the Panda is putting in some work. DH does finally arrive. Panda will be the focus now, but there should be a staff available on the DH. Just needs to take out this ward, put the Panda out, and be careful with the Dryads again. He has killed a few ghouls, but honestly this Undead army is just way too tanky for MGs. Yeah, these A-bombs are just a bit rough for the elf army to deal with currently. Usually you need something like Tri-Hero with double orb or triple orb, or a lot more bears and dryads rather than MGs to deal with A-bombs. Having a couple MGs, of course, still good, but just a few MGs alone is definitely not enough because they don't deal much damage and they don't tank as much as you would like against corruption plus A-bombs when they actually get focused. And our Undead player actually jumping to 84 food already. He wants to just end this. He's reached 5-4. Grinchy on the other hand. I didn't even see when he lost his Panda. Am I blind? I thought he staffed it out and then did it come back in the fight and die? I must have missed it. Yeah, this elf army just too small. Demon Hunter not getting to attack here as well, being blocked by his Dryads. Yeah, it's just too much. Chain morphing, some destroyers. We'll be able to get a couple kills, but yeah, DH is nowhere close to 5, let alone 6. So Superman is not here to save the day. GrinchyGrinchydoing his best to fight back, but staring down like 20 food of destroyers and 12 food of A-bombs. This is just a little too much for the Elf Army. We'll have his panda back soon, but not much wells to work with, so he'll only get off one set of spells. And yeah, Grinchy calls the GG. And we see 1-0 for SauCeD. Bit rough for Grinchy. I think losing those units when he ran into the undead at the top left hurt a lot. He lost an archer and 2 bears, I believe, and then he also lost 2 bears earlier near his own gold mine. Which is just not something you can do. You have to be really careful to not lose. To not lose anything against undead, you have to have good staff usage, and you have to realize when you need to TP out instead of staffing out and running. Because undead is actually pretty good at tracking down stuff with Coil, Nova, and Unholy Aura. The slow from Nova being AoE, extremely potent, and with a movement speed aura that Night Elf does not have access to themselves, just makes it hard to run away. We did get to see some good moves, some nice rounds by SauCeD, and awareness to pick stuff off, but also some nice split creeping and harassing from Grinchy. Getting a bunch of burns off with his TH, and as well as getting his panda to 3. But as far as the fights go, it was mostly SauCeD kind of just picking off Grinchy's stuff and Grinchy trying to escape. We'll see if he can set himself up better here to take a full-on engagement rather than having to just run. Also, I forgot to turn my stuff off. I usually turn these off when I am casting, but I forgot. Ooh, whoops. Yeah, we have a score of 1-0 for SauCeD. Our purple undead spawning at the top right. And he's going the same cool build. And at the top, I think I said top right, I meant top left. And then at the top right, we have our yellow Night Elf Grinchy, also going what looks to be the same build. We'll see if he changes it up with a Keeper, or if he decides to go Demon Hunter again. It is going to be the Keeper. So Keeper Keeper a lot of the time wants to expand. DH can fight one base versus one base much better than something like Keeper. Keeper really wants some sort of economic advantage though, and does better with something like Mass Dryads into MG Bears later. And then, yeah, our undead does go with the second Ziggurat again.
Are under attack.
Likely Death Knight, cool creeping, but we'll see if he decides to harass again, or... Oh, Oh no, Grinchy. He screwed up. Okay, he does manage to survive though. And should be able to pick off this Acolyte here. Did not get the XP though. Will we see the Death Knight harass because of that? It looks like he's just going to creep. The Undead definitely could have gone for a harass and he would be there to pick off at least the final troll. But, oh, he is. He is going for a harass.
A player's forces are under
But I think he's a little slow now because he kind of stood around and like summoned stuff. Yeah, Grinchy might actually be able to finish this because he summoned Treants. Not having Entangle shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it's usually not ideal to have Treants against this stuff. So you'd like to get level 2 as soon as possible, but the Undead will likely try to stop it.
A player's forces are under
However,
attack.
he's getting too far away, and Grinchy should be able to kill this before. So very nice for Grinchy. And we see level 2 online. Good situation for him. SauCeD, on the other hand, going for the Ogre. Definitely going to take some damage here, but should be able to get the Ogre. Even saves the coil, but now with an Entangle, we might see one of these ghouls picked off. A coil should be able to save it just fine though. But forcing a coil, not necessarily bad, especially because you can utilize Moonwells in the early stages. Grinchy, however, should just back off here, probably. I don't think you can do much more now that your keeper is low
Player's
mana.
forces are under attack.
There is no dust though. We'll get one skeleton. Yeah, should watch out for these because if he gets ensnared. Okay. I mean, I guess there's no dust, so it could still hide. Okay, Grinchy can fight this now, actually. He has one Entangle available to focus the DK down. Needs to be a little careful with his mana, but otherwise, our Night Elf, not too bad of a position. Undead, on the other hand, Graveyard almost finish. We see a third Ziggurat. Will we see a second Crypt? It looks like no.
Forces are under attack.
So maybe just the tier 3 tech again into A-bombs. Which could work out quite well for Grinchy, assuming he's planning to expand and make Dryads. While Dryads do take a long time to kill A-bombs, they're not necessarily terrible against A-bombs. Until there's other stuff added, like maybe a couple wagons and Disease
A player's
Cloud.
forces are under attack.
But in the early stages, Dryads can do okay and can buy you enough time to get some support units to tank up front. But we'll see what happens. We do see the double lore, Demon Hunter second, Wisp potentially going to Expo. Not sure. Does get a staff. Being aggressive here, very questionable when you don't have level 3 or your second hero. And this is usually the stage where Undead can start picking off archers. But it's actually going to work out for Grinchy, because our Undead has not reached 3. He did not pick up a Naga, and his Lich is not out. And getting this Ensnare ghoul is huge. Now he is actually level 3 and can easily start entangling these ghouls. It is looking mighty fine for our elf player. We do see our Undead going back in fearlessly because, you know, Unholy Aura is balanced. Just run around. But Elf does need to be a little careful now. He has ran out of mana on his Keeper, and there is a Lich out. And as many people might know, Nova can oftentimes just get free kills on archers. I like this transition by Grinchy though. No need to be greedy stealing the camp here. Just take the middle camp, which is still pretty valuable to deny the opponent getting the middle camps. And after you take this, if you're quick enough, you can actually take the top middle camp as well, which would be huge. Lightning shield can definitely be useful on the demon. He is actually going for an aggressive play though. Maybe worried about an expansion since he saw the Blight Skull used. But it does not... I mean, maybe it looks like an expo. DH needs to be a little careful getting too far forward. Could get turned on and focused. I guess there's only a level 2 DK. And it is the double slaughter again. So,
forces are under attack.
Would have been good for Grinchy if he could have got an expansion up while the undead doesn't really have much. But still not bad for Grinchy. He has the level advantage on both heroes. He has level 2 entangle against ghouls, which is very powerful. And should be able to get another ghoul here. Maybe even this one too, if he spots it. Great, just chasing with his Death Knight. The undead is actually expecting an expo or something, but there is not one. Grinchy should start ignoring this probably, and just creep. It would have been good for him to just go to the middle camp.
Forces are under attack.
He's chasing a little too much, and his keeper does not actually have mana. Although, I guess if he gets one more ghoul, maybe not the worst. But honestly, Undead's just kind of biding his time while he has his slaughters producing. And this time it may actually be the Mass Destroyers, which doesn't seem that great here, because Grinchy is currently massing Dryads with a damage upgrade, and has Orb. So definitely good position for our Night Elf. However, his demon's not with the army, which I think is kind of bad. You would have liked to have your demon here so that you could have just crept right away, because you really need this demon to level 3. Also, maybe should have gone back for the middle rather than stealing the Murloc. Now he has to watch out because there is Nova, there is Orb. Nice stack though. And we might see some return focus with the Orb on the DK. Okay. I mean, Grinchy should be able to take this fight, but he needs to be a little careful because of Orb plus Nova. He can definitely take quite a lot of damage quickly. But the DK is still only level 2. So maybe it's not so bad. You can actually go in on this. And yeah, we see some morphine, but these destroyers don't do much right now. I mean, you definitely want one for the keeper. However, they don't actually deal much damage right now because there is not bears. This is why you typically want
forces are under attack.
Some fiends or some A-bombs. But just pure destroyers is not the greatest. Yeah, we see some nice creeping done finally by Grinchy, taking the center. Will be pretty close to 3. Should be able to get his own Murlocs and his Art Camp now. Actually goes for an Acolyte. I mean, good pick off. But he's being aggressive. It's definitely an interesting play. I probably would not do this with the DH that hasn't reached 3. But his army is not weak comparatively, so he can get away with this. And the Keeper, of course, can get some free pickoffs, although there is destroyers to devour now if SauCeD is fast enough. And we see an expo coming up. Grinchy should spot that. I'm not sure if he has Ultra Vision, but that looked like it should have been probably in range. Yeah, he should get this statue here. One more burn. The destroyer will fly over the tree though, and now the DH, level 3. Undead is expecting an expo play, but there is not an expansion. Undead will be able to, however, steal a creep camp, which will be good for him. but he is losing a lot in return. He lost that statue, he had to cancel his expo, lost an acolyte. And he's saving some units up in his base. Undead still is at 50 food though, so technically even food supply. But we will likely see MGs rather than bears, since there is a lot of destroyers. Oh, Grinchy's actually mixing in hippos, because there is no fiends. That should be safe here. But a nice force of the TP, and probably another coil here, because there is no statues on the field. And this undead army is not looking too great, as well as just does not match up against the current elf army, which is dryads plus archers. We see a level 4 keeper online. Treants can actually be pretty powerful if the destroyer count starts dropping, but at the start of the fight will be a little rough because Undead did put a big focus on destroyers, even getting 2 more statues. That's going to be a lot of Mighty Morphin statue rangers on the field here soon. Grinchy, on the other hand, a little suffering on wood. I'm not sure if he has the MG upgrades, but he is getting some nice pickoffs here. That is 1 more statue going down. Maybe even a ghoul. The undead will probably cancel Grinchy's expo, but will potentially lose a ice tower in return. Maybe even a ghoul if a entangle comes out. I would like to see the tower or the shop killed. Grinchy does have a TP, so if it gets bad, he can just get out. He is getting an expansion up in the meantime, which should be cancelled now. Is cancelled. Immediate detonate. Yeah, does take out the ice tower. Will he go? Oh, he's going in deep. I wouldn't have minded him just taking out the relics, but okay, he actually staffs out the DH immediately. I think I would have liked to see him tank with the DH, but you know, being safe with him can be okay too. However, this army is very fragile and slow, and this is the problem with staffing out your big tanky boy DH and not having any other tanky boys. He's lost like 3 archers, 4 archers, and that's why generally you want to either TP out or let your DH tank more while your army runs, and then staff your DH out. So some big pickoffs for our undead, but Grinchy has a lot of gold banked and should be breaking like now. Okay, he's producing wisps. Should be pumping double MGs, I think. Probably. Another archer picked off. Good awareness by our undead player. He is a little low on his DK's mana now. Maybe should use the potion and then pass the pendant at some point. Yeah, Grinchy should not fight this. Just break, bro. You have 1,000 gold and 70 food available. Okay, you get some mana burn off. I mean, some small value there, but... Oh, so that's what he was waiting for. The double Chimera Roost. Okay. I mean, Chimeras are definitely a good choice against A-bombs. And ghouls. But he will still have to wait quite a while before his army comes online. These hippos, however, are actually pretty strong here. The destroyers are going to drop quickly. You see one already going down, another one getting close to dropping, and these are each 5 food. 1 hippo goes down in return, but that's 2 destroyers and almost an A-bomb too. Hippos continuing to do work. This undead army is just not well equipped to fight the air currently without fiends. Without Gargs. Undead decides to TP out, but loses another A-bomb. And that went honestly a lot better than I was expecting. I guess I kind of forgot how good these hippos were because there actually is no fiends. I'm not used to seeing an army of undead like this without fiends. Yeah, we see some gargoyles getting mixed in. I'm not sure how great they'll be because they will be in low numbers against hippo dryads. If you get gargs in high numbers at the start, definitely very powerful. But coming from behind with them and just adding a few is just not the ideal situation. Yeah, Grinchy coming in has double chimeras here. Does he have... Okay, he has corrosive breath queued next.
A player's forces are
So he
under
will still
attack.
have to wait a while for that. But his army is going to be extremely strong in a second with 2 more chimeras coming. DH needs to be a bit careful. Does have a staff. I'll save staff back in. But we should see Grinchy just TP out. He does this time. Might lose a dryad or 2. Okay, just 1. Not too bad for him. And we do see the A-bombs putting in work. Just spread that disease cloud and all these dryads drop to red health, and dryads kind of drain wells a lot, which not ideal. Most of them do have quite a lot of mana, so not too bad to use the wells on them, but still. But yeah, we see 1-2 upgrades. Usually with chimeras and like hippos, I feel like you would generally just prefer damage because you want to kill as fast as possible. But I mean, it's probably fine. Being tankier is definitely not bad. Counteracting that orb of corruption. Yeah, this undead army is just a little too small right now. He's been at 50 food for a while. Unable to really push past it anymore after Grinchy took that fight down below here. And yeah, statues getting caught out. A couple of mana burns and the will start falling. And look at this chimera damage. 1 A-bomb almost falls instantly. And immediate GG. SauCeD realizes he just can't fight that army. So, good call on the chimeras. I don't think they were required to win. Because Grinchy did have a decent early and mid game and could have just gone Baird or, you know, MG Dryads. Maybe you like 2 bears. Or just MG Dryad pure, maybe. I don't know. But the chimera is definitely good. Just in case the undead army does get too strong, you want them to deal with the A-bombs for sure. And yeah, Grinchy ties it up. We got a 1-1. Yeah, close series. Grinchy's been playing pretty well. SauCeD as well has done very good with his awareness and picking stuff off. But his unit composition is a little questionable at times. I feel like the destroyer play, it can definitely work out good if the elf doesn't really scout it or pay attention to what's going on. But if the elf does scout it and just doesn't really make bears, then the destroyers are fairly useless. Like, you'd rather just have stuff get entangled than have a bunch of destroyers that are not doing much. So, you know, good play, questionable strategy. We'll see if he mixes it up here or if he decides to continue going dual slaughter. I wouldn't be surprised to see more Garg play instead this time. But I am unaware of what exactly is his go-to strategy. Grinchy, on the other hand, did really good with pickoffs. I do think Grinchy could have crept up slightly better to get his DH3 sooner. And maybe banked a little too long. There was one moment the undead was looking to kind of push in, and Grinchy had like 1,000 something gold. But he held on and pulled out the win, forcing a game 3. Okay, at the bottom left, we have our purple undead player, SauCeD. He's going the same build once again. A ghoul build, likely Death Knight into either creeping one of these greens, potentially even this one, or he might do his like 2 ghoul harass again, because last game he went for a rod usage plus 2 ghouls and just tried to do what he can. Keeper kind of fought that off easily, but unsure if we will see Keeper again. It is going to be a standard build from Grinchy, a very safe Ancient of War position. I think if you're going to play it safe, can't you just place it like here maybe? And then just walk to this tree. Or here, and then like eat this tree. I don't know. This position always feels weird to me because it's just a big cliff here. And if he walks back to eat this tree, you might as well just put the Ancient of War here in the first place, right? Anyways, it is going to be the Keeper once again, so he feels much more comfortable playing against this DK Ghoul build with a Keeper, and I do not blame him. I think it can definitely be very strong. Usually you do require an expansion, but as we saw last game, sometimes if you can just get a lot of good pickoffs, you will also be fine. Needs to be a little careful. Okay. Oh, hit that. Oh no. Undead steals the creep, but his Death Knight's not out. So we didn't actually get the XP. Not the biggest loss, honestly. He got an Acolyte, but lost the Ogre. But the Ogre didn't go to anyone because the Undead did not have his Death Knight out either. So, you know, I've seen worse situations. This Ancient War a little low. He needs to be a bit careful, actually. I kind of would have liked him to eat a tree first, but usually no one will kill this. And with some wisp nearby, should be able to repair it even if it gets focused. Yeah, this harass can be incredibly annoying to deal with for the elf, because you just have no way to really stop the Death Knight. He did pick up a skull, but it's not an all-in, so maybe maybe he just likes having a skull. It definitely has value for the regen it gives. But kind of interesting to see a tech and not like an all-in or expo with it. But yeah, Grinchy just doing what he can to just get the Death Knight away. He might actually be able to head down to the undead side here. Or what he could also do is hide his archers and then walk his Keeper away and see where the Death Knight goes. But it looks like he's just going to brute force the camp. Also a viable option. But do need to be careful against skeletons. They can put in a lot of damage on archers, combined with coil to pick them off. Yeah, Grinchy doing a nice job just keeping his archers back. Should try to not let the undead get this. I think keeping the archers a little closer than this would be fine. But you can start focusing. Oh, he miscoiled. He missed the coil. The undead did get the creep and got a treant, I believe, but Grinchy's going to get a bunch of skeletons here. Okay, just 2. Thought he might get the 3rd as well. Maybe he still will if the undead brings it back in, which he did. Will he get the fourth? No, that one will be denied.
Players' forces are under attack.
Yeah, Grinchy level 2, which is pretty huge. You see an interesting Blight Skull. And Undead manages to pick off another creep. This, however, very good for Grinchy. The Undead got baited. We'll get the item, but we'll lose a TP for it, or actually just dies. Definitely good for Grinchy now. A little too greedy from the Undead there, having to use a coil on a treant just to get a Wand of Illusion. We do see a tech straight to tier 3, and Grinchy actually scanned that, which is interesting. I guess not bad. It's, I guess, cheaper than sending a Wispid that just gets killed by like a Frost Tower or something, right?
A player's forces are under attack.
And this is actually potentially a good steal, but it might be scouted. However, it looks like our Undead just going to get a small green camp and more... actually, he didn't pick up another rod. So yeah, just taking a small green camp. I actually think the Undead could have gone for the shop and used his Wand of Illusion to tank. But with how it went, this is actually looking good for Grinchy. We do see level 2 for our Undead, but Keeper is 3.4 and has a greater mana potion, which is actually insane right now. It can allow him to either harass right away against ghouls or continue creeping effectively with some treants, whatever he prefers. Creeping, not optimal because his second hero not there yet. However, DH does arrive on the field now. I actually wouldn't mind him just using the potion of mana, because it might be better than using up the Moonwells. Oof, and yeah, this is the problem as well. Undead comes in, steals the creep, gets the XP as well, gets the... oh no! Grinchy got the mana potion. So Grinchy does lose the creep, but yeah. And this is actually a fight Grinchy should not have run from. If he just popped the mana potion on his Keeper, like what is this gonna do against Keeper DH and like 3 Dryads already? So, a little bit too afraid from Grinchy. I don't think he realized how strong he is with level 3 Keeper against ghouls right now. You almost never run from ghouls with level 3 Keeper unless you're dodging us around or you don't have mana. But he had a mana potion, so he should have just used it, got his value. Because the mana potion actually loses value in the long run, since the Undead starts getting destroyers on the field and then devours. Yeah, we see a different build this time. It is going to be a Frenzy plus Crypt Fiend plus Destroyer, and I believe this is a very standard type of build with a few ghouls into Tri-Hero, Fiend, Statue, and a Destroyer to devour. It will be interesting to see if he does pick up the 3rd hero though, because he did not in the previous matches. But Tri-Hero against Elf can be extremely powerful.
Players' forces are under attack.
Potentially getting a 3rd nuke with something like Fork to Lightning, or another tank with like a Pit Lord, or you know, another nuke with Crypt Lord. There's a lot of options really. Yeah, we see a nice entangle here, and with Orb of Venom, he might even be able to get this in time. Oof, close. It does get home though, and gets coiled. Yeah, Grinchy does manage to steal some of this camp though, which is pretty huge, and gets the cancel on the gold mine. He does need to be a little careful here though. Being aggressive into an undead base when they have orb and true shot and you do not have a level 3 DH is definitely sketchy. I would recommend backing off as the elf. This choke point, not bad though. He could try to turn, but as soon as you staff that DH, you need to TP. As soon as you staff that DH, you need to TP. And he does. Okay. Grinchy hearing my thoughts, I guess. He learned his mistakes from the previous games of waiting too long. Did not get all his archers picked off this time. So, you know, a bit unfortunate to have to use the TP. Missing a Dryad here as well. Hopefully he'll see it eventually. I personally would recommend selling at least one of these potions. I feel like you're never really going to use 2 mana potions against undead who has destroyers. But when she sees that the camp was done, or I think he saw the bloodlusted ogre, right? Auto abolish still on. Not necessarily bad against undead to leave it on, but can sometimes make it harder to heal dryads if their mana is low. DH suffering from not having bears, and we do not see bears either. It is going to just be MGs. Dryad MG definitely very powerful, but one of the reasons you want bears is because you want rejuvenation. If you do not have rejuvenation, you run into situations like this where your moon wells are pretty empty. He does have Wellspring now though, so he is starting to get them filled up quite nicely. And he's breaking to 6. He's already broke to 60, has the giant almost out. 70 food cap on the way. Undead is also broke at 55 now, with 70 food cap as well. But I like Grinchy's army here actually. This ghoul front line is a little too weak, and there is a lot of dryads against them. And there's only 2 fiends to counter the dryads. No wagons, no, you know, high count of fiends, no 3rd hero. So Grinchy in a good spot, but I do feel like he's a little lost on what to do right now. He's like 3-3, and he's just like, where do I go? I don't want to attack into an undead face, but there's not much to creep either. The undead kind of sniped the red item.
A town is
Pipe.
under attack.
Pipe is definitely makes you very sad as a night elf player when you have a demon hunter and you're like, oh, I can maybe remove a couple spells, and then it's like, oh, sorry bro, I got a pipe. Our undead player, little missed micro, forgot to grab that control group, ghoul's way behind. An inconsequential pickoff of the altar. I don't think SauCeD even needs to remake it. If he wanted a 3rd hero, he probably would have done so already. But as it stands, I think it's unneeded. He could have just let it stay dead, probably. Yeah, we see a mana burn coming out here. And a potion used. DH gets staffed though. This is definitely really risky for our Night Elf player. He mismicroed completely. Dryad's not attacking. Keeper does not have a TP. DH does not have a Staff of Tally, and this is going to cost our Night Elf player a lot. You do not want to leave your Keeper without your DH here. Always need to be ready, either with a TP or to just fight longer. Make sure your DH gets lower health first. When you're half health and the undead is already nuked, you can still wait before you use the staff. But, you know, a little over eager on the staff there and got put in an awkward spot. Lost a ton of archers and a couple dryads.
A player's forces are under attack.
Did he lose that? No, he did save the MG. Still not in a terrible spot, but these mana potions, as you can see, not very effective. He does... Oh, he actually sells both. I was saying earlier, I would definitely recommend selling one. Sometimes you can still have value by having two, especially with Trance to creep. But... Or even tank, even though there are destroyers. There we see an invuln. GrinchyY should, I guess, just escape here. But yeah, that is extremely costly. Having to use more Moonwells and a TP that he just bought. Yeah, this is the thing against undead. You gotta be ready for those nukes, and you gotta have an answer. The answer is typically to have a bear in the back to rejuvenate. But if you do get an army strong enough through this expansion, for instance, you can still do something. You should get on the high ground here. This choke point, also not terrible. I prefer the high ground because it's also a choke. Yeah, you'll see the DH should tank a bit here. DH coming back in. Ghouls starting to drop quickly, but our undead going hard on the heroes. DK out of mana, but does have a potion plus the pipe and statues. Giants doing their best to tank in front. Should see some taunts going off. Very nice. And then Dryads just need to keep focusing down this stuff. Should see some abolishes though. DH dropping low. Gets stacked out. Keeper, the next target, needs to start backing off before he gets nuked. There is not much mana, but the Keeper is about to get surrounded. Does manage to escape barely, but now these elf units a little left behind, running the wrong way as well, and all the Dryads are falling. And that's the problem of not having enough damage from bears.
A town is under siege.
We see some hippos coming out. They could actually be pretty useful, but I think SauCeD actually had early web, and he actually has 3 fiends trying to having a little party here. They would definitely put this heavily in the undead's favor, but otherwise the undead is still in a great spot. He's ahead in food, and Grinchy's about to lose 5 of those wisps. So yeah, army size way behind for GrinchyY, and his wood count is low. And a low army size with MGs is not that scary. It's not until you start reaching 70 something food that MGs become like a problem. Yeah, we do see GrinchyY going in. A little miss micro though. Dryad's not attacking, just diving in. MG is starting to get focused. If these MGs can somehow tank a bunch, maybe we can see GrinchyY doing something here. But yeah, the undead's starting to change his focus, going for the Dryads and the DH simultaneously. Dryads dropping quickly. Might be able to get one more destroyer for GrinchyY, and then start summoning treants. But DH gets nuked down, and there's just not much left here for our elf player anymore. Got caught off guard a couple too many times. Having to spend extra gold on TPs, staffing his DH, and leaving his army behind. And yeah, our undead player just looking way too strong here. Has level 5 on both heroes. Has a more proper army this time with fiends, 1 disease cloud A-bomb, and a destroyer or 2. Couple statues. Did manage to find those fiends.
A player's
Yeah, his army size 63 versus 35. GrinchyY just can't afford anything. He's even having to make wisps because he just does not have anything on wood. Yeah, very tough spot for our night elf. This This hero nuke is not really going to be manageable for the elf anymore. Once undead reaches 5/5, you really just need to call on Superman, but Superman is nowhere to be found in this game. He is sitting at level 3.5 on the DH. Keeper doing what he can to get a little bit of extra creeping. However, this level 5 likely won't be enough. I guess the one thing Grinchy can try for is Entangle Focus, but there is double invuln, heal scroll, coils, and he's possibly waiting for a TP as well. Or, yeah, double heal scroll, double invuln, and a TP. So, undead playing very safe and smart. Grinchy just
The town is under siege.
not have enough here. We'll see what he can do with coil focus, or entangle focus, I mean. But yeah, with only 4 triads and a couple MGs, no upgrades, it is going to be tough. Hippo getting webbed instantly, MG getting focused, DH getting nuked. DH already half health, has to use the remaining Moonwells. And now there's just nothing left for Moonwells. So this elf army basically has to fight as is. No shop either. Grinchy also out of gold. Could bring wisps in to detonate. There we see him focusing as best he can, trying to get that destroyer down. But Mountain Giant falls. Dryad's getting focused next. Demon Hunter putting in some good damage. However, at level 3, just not enough to fight off the Scourge. We see him fall, and Grinchy calls the GG. 2-1 for SauCeD. Grinchy had a good showing the first couple games. Did still lose one of them out of getting a few too many units picked off. But he did good in the first one on Autumn Leaves. Second one, he did really good as well and ended up winning. Third one, however, just kind of couldn't get enough to fight off that undead army, and the undead army was a little more proper, less A-bomb plus destroyer, more fiend plus 1 or 2 destroyer, 1 or 2 A-bomb, and the statues. So SauCeD ends up taking it 2-1 in the end. Good showing by him. And Grinchy just unprepared for that hero nuke in the third game. Had to staff his TH a few too many times right at the start, and his army just kind of getting caught out without the DH there. Maybe needed a Staff of Telly to get right back in, or a couple bears to get some rejuve off mid-fight.